All right, so welcome to another comic review. This is not a book from that was sent to me by my friend Chris. This was one I got not too long ago. I love shopping on thrift books because usually there's gold in them. The art hills, you just gotta know where to look. Um, so that's where I got the first volume of this series, and now we're going to review Volume 2, DC Meets Hanna-Barbera. By the way, I know you probably can't see it, but the cover feels like almost lenticular, but it does. It has like a Velcro kind of vinyl feel to it. Um, anyway, so this is Volume 2, and there was supposed to be a Volume 3. In fact, all the single issues did come out for DC Meets Hanna-Barbera Volume 3, but much like the DC Meets Looney Tunes trade for Volume 2, that never got released, so good luck finding them out in the wild. Kind of sucks, because while I do think Volume 1 of DC Meets Hanna-Barbera is not good, is just, there's one good story in there, and the others are just okay. This one was kind of better. Like, this one genuinely feels like people actually cared about the source material, and not just the DC side, I mean like the actual Hanna-Barbera side. For these properties. So it actually felt like for this one, there was actually like some reverence for what we were doing in here. So it is basically the Super Sons meet Blue Falcon and Dynamite. You have Hong Kong Phooey meet Black Lightning. The Flash, Wally West Flash meets Speed Buggy, and Jabberjaw meets Aquaman. So I'm going to kind of talk about each one and kind of give my thoughts. On a whole, I'm going to say right now, Volume 2 is much better than Volume 1. Volume 1, the Green Lantern Space Ghost story is arguably the one that's really just is the good one. The rest are just ranging from okay to that was awful. It's just a lot of meh in that book. Here, there's a lot of solid work in here. Right out the gate, I didn't like the Super Sons meet Blue Falcon and Dynamite book. It's actually really good, written by Peter J. Tomasi, who was writing Super Sons at the time. It gives me a lot of nostalgia feel for like young John Kent and young Damian Wayne. It's like they feel like Peter Tomasi didn't miss at all. I really like the story here that they find broken down Dynamite and have to go save Blue Falcon from a former enemy. It's really cool. I really liked this book. Again, maybe it's just more of the nostalgia of reading a classic, the closest I'll get to a classic Super Sons comic, but I think it's good. It actually talks a lot about death, and it actually goes into some heavy moments because Damian finds John at a funeral for a family friend, and there's a lot of talk about like death and loss, and how we cope with death. So I thought it was really good. Again, I think this is arguably people would say that the Blue Falcon Super Sun story is probably the best, but I kind of have my heart for another one, and I'll get to that one later. The next one is the one I'd probably say is the most okay. It's still good, and that's Black Lightning and Hong Kong Phooey, which goes for a more supernatural 70s vibe. I really did like it. I think, but it still had like a lot of the artwork was also really bad. I just did not care for the artwork, and also, don't get me wrong, Black Lightning is cool, and I like the whole thing, the whole vibe of the 70s. I really do like the idea of making this a 70s story. And it's also kind of, the joke is it's a more darker story for an older aging Hong Kong Phooey. But the problem is I feel like this was the art, and I feel like the story wraps up a little too fast, and it feels more Hong Kong than Black Lightning. But the thing is, I would have preferred it DC if you really wanted to make a cool 70s story and make it, because this is clearly just meant to be like action, like kung fu action, then why didn't we use Richard Dragon? I know he's not a popular character, but like, you should have just done the thing. Like, you should have had, DC's greatest martial artist, because you have Bronze Tiger and Cheshire in here, being controlled by one of Phooey's enemies. But like, you had Bronze Tiger and Cheshire. You don't have any of Black. You don't use Tobias Whale. in a Black Lightning crossover. You should have just done Richard Dragon. I have this sneaking suspicion that the writer, hang on, I gotta remember the writer real fast. The writer of this comic was basically like, I wanted to do Richard Dragon, but I think DC said no, do Black Lightning, because at the time Black Lightning was a show on the CW, so I would not be shocked if like God, why can't I find the writer? Like yeah, that was my biggest problem with it was that I feel like it should have been Richard Dragon. With Hong Kong Fooey, but I get it. He's not Dragon's not a popular character, and Black Lightning is a little more better known. But again, it really does feel like it was supposed to be Dragon. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. The next one, by Scott Lobdell, the Flash book, is also, I think it's good. I think it's a pretty self-contained book of just Speed Buggy and Wally West on a race, and they encounter like Sevatar, and again, this was 2018. This was like the CW universe was still going strong, so it had a lot of it still had some stuff to it. But I just hate this costume. I do. I like the artwork by Brett Booth. I think Brett Booth does some really good artwork, but like, man, do I just hate the New 50, because this was still like, we're in DC Rebirth era, and I just did not like this costume. I think it just felt like kind of like we're lazily just still making Wally the Kid Flash, putting him in a bigger Kid Flash costume. You know what I mean? Anyway, I think it's still good though. I think even though Scott Lobdell is not a great writer, I think this was a pretty fun story that really like captured a lot of just a cool team up. And again, there's a lot of reverence for these characters. And then we come to Dan Abnett's final story, which is Aquaman and Jabberjaws, and this is my favorite story. This one does not take itself seriously. In no way, shape, or form does this comic once go, we're going to make a serious story of Jabberjaws and Aquaman. Basically, the story is that Jabberjaws has been thrown to remember, his cartoon takes place in the year 2076, and he gets thrown to 2018 and meets Aquaman in Amnesty Bay. And yes, if you're wondering, there are a ton of Jaws references and Jaws parody jokes in this comic. Thank you very much. It basically leads to Aquaman taking Jabberjaws back and encountering the Ocean Master, who is not Orm. It's a dude who trademarked the name and wants to make Jabberjaws' place of Aqualand a Aryan paradise. That's the comic. But yeah, there's a lot of good jokes in here. There's actually like a great moment where like Aquaman's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name, by the way. Oh, my name's Jabberjaws." Somehow I was expecting that. Like, Aquaman's just like, it's a talking shark from the future. There's robot sharks, man. Okay, your name's fucking Jabberjaws. All right. That one was it also has a cool cameo to C-Lab 2020, which I liked. But all in all, I definitely liked it, despite the Black Lightning and Hong Kong Fooey one being I still think this is a pretty solid comic. I like this volume better, and it does suck that we didn't get, oh, hello. It's my kitty. Yeah. Yeah, you wanted attention, huh? But yeah, as I said, I like this more than Volume 1. The stories were a lot better. It felt like people actually wanted to do this, and yeah. Anyway, so yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below if you've read DC Meets Hanna-Barbera Volume 2. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.